I never trusted Evelyn from the moment she slithered into my life as my mother-in-law. But that night at Le Cirque, when the chef grabbed my arm and hissed, "Get out now, before she poisons you," I realized trust was the least of my worries. I was already dead.
Just not in my own skin.
It started 6 months earlier, on a rain-slicked street in Manhattan, where a freak accident swapped my soul into the body of a Wall Street exec named Victoria Hale, while she woke up in mine, free to ruin everything I'd built. And the worst part? Evelyn orchestrated it all, burying the secret of my husband's affair with her under layers of corporate espionage and black market tech that no one would believe. Call me Serenity, though that's the name I clawed back after the swap. The one that feels like home even in this stranger's flesh. Back then, I was just the quiet graphic designer married to her golden boy, Marcus. We lived in a cramped Brooklyn walk-up, dreaming of kids and stability, while Evelyn loomed from her penthouse in the Upper East Side like a goddamn queen bee. She hated me from day one, said I was too soft for her empire-building son, that I'd drag him down with my artsy bullshit. Marcus laughed it off, but I saw the cracks, the late nights at the office, the whispers on his phone. Betrayal doesn't announce itself. It creeps in like fog off the Hudson. The invitation came via courier, gold-embossed cardstock that screamed old money. Darling Serenity, let's bury the hatchet over foie gras. 8 p.m. sharp. Wear something decent. No RSVP needed. Evelyn didn't do equals. Marcus was out of town on business, so I went alone, slipping into a thrift store sheath that still smelled faintly of lavender from my real life. Le Cirque was everything I imagined. Velvet banquettes, waiters in tuxes gliding like ghosts, the air thick with truffle oil and quiet desperation. Heads turned as I entered. Victoria's body was a weapon. All sharp cheekbones and legs for days. The kind that made men forget their wives and women sharpen their nails. Evelyn was already there, perched like a vulture in a corner booth, her diamonds catching the light like warning flares. Serenity, you clean up nicely, she purred, air-kissing my cheeks with lips that felt like ice. We ordered her the tasting menu, me just a salad to match my nerves. Small talk flowed like the overpriced Chardonnay, Marcus's promotion, my little freelance gigs. But her eyes were lasers,
Dissecting me.
You've changed.
Dear. More.
Assertive. It's almost as if you're not yourself. I laughed it off, but my gut twisted. Since the accident, or what the cops called a hit-and-run on Fifth Avenue, I'd been waking up in Victoria's penthouse, staring at a face in the mirror that wasn't mine. Doctors called it traumatic dissociation, but I knew better. That night, tires screeching, a van clipping me just hard enough to black out, then nothing. Woke up in a hospital bed, nurses calling me MS. Hale. My ID swapped. My life erased. Marcus? He visited once, looked at me like a stranger, then vanished. Turns out, Victoria had been his work wife, the one he'd been screwing in boardrooms while I designed logos for startups that went bust. The entrees arrived. Art on plates, seared scallops for her, duck confit that I poked it like it might bite back. Evelyn leaned in, voice dropping to that conspiratorial whisper she reserved for deals worth millions. I know about the affair.
Serenity.
Marcus told me everything. But you're stronger than that, aren't you? We could make it work for the family. Her hand covered mine, rings heavy as manacles. I wanted to yank away, scream that I wasn't the wife she'd discarded. I was the intruder in this skin, piecing together fragments of Victoria's life like a shattered mosaic. That's when the chef appeared, tall, scarred hands from years at the pass, his white stained with what looked like fresh reductions. He was supposed to just check on us, the personal touch for Evelyn's ilk. But he froze when he saw me.
No. Saw us.
His eyes darted to Evelyn, then back. And before I could process, he bent low, breath hot against my ear. Leave.
Now.
She's not who you think. Evelyn's fork clattered. Excuse me? He straightened, face blank as dough. Just ensuring your satisfaction, madam. But as he retreated to the kitchen, I caught the nod, subtle, toward the side exit. My heart hammered like a jackhammer on asphalt.
Poison?
No. That was too cartoonish for Evelyn. But the way her smile didn't reach her eyes. I excused myself to the ladies' room, legs shaky in heels that pinched Victoria's arches. In the marble echo chamber, I splashed water on this borrowed face, whispering, "What the hell are you hiding?" Back at the table, Evelyn was scrolling her phone, oblivious or pretending. I slid into the booth, mind racing. The accident wasn't random. Victoria's emails I'd hacked from her laptop painted a picture: embezzlement schemes, rivals vanishing into lawsuits. And Marcus? His text to her, my husband, confessing he'd frame me for the thefts to cover their tracks. I'd taken the fall without knowing. My identity swapped via some deep web neural tech Evelyn's pharma connections peddled. She'd buried the evidence. Let Victoria slink into my body to play innocent wife while I rotted as the disgraced exec. I couldn't bolt, not yet. Tell me the truth. Evelyn, I said, voice steady as a loaded gun. She arched a brow, all patrician grace. Truth? Darling. In this city, truth is whatever I say it is. The sommelier poured more wine, but I waved it off. That's when the cramp hit low belly, like fire ants marching. Not food poisoning, something sharper.
Calculated.
Evelyn watched, sipping her glass like it was nectar. Feeling under the weather? Perhaps it's the company. I stood, chair scraping like a verdict. I'm leaving. Her laugh tinkled, baccarat crystal shattering. Sit down. Serenity. Or should I say, Victoria? The name hung there, a guillotine blade. She knew. All along. She'd known about the swap, engineered it to protect her son, to bury me under Victoria's sins. The embezzlement? Victoria's doing. Pinned on me, on Serenity Hale now. The fall guy in a body that screamed guilt. I didn't run. I walked. Past the valet stand into the muggy July night, hailed a cab that reeked of wet dog and regret. The driver glanced in the rearview. You okay? Lady? Look like you've seen a ghost. Worse. I'd seen the devil in pearls. Back in Victoria's loft, cold steel and glass overlooking the chaos below, I tore through files. Digital and paper. Unearthing the web. Evelyn's shell companies funding the swap tech. Marcus signing off on the hit. The secret? I'd borne the crime for them. Years ago. When Marcus's first grew up. Insider trade. Got pinned on me as his gullible wife. Forged docs. A slap on the wrist. But it haunted my credit. My dreams. Revenge wasn't a choice, it was oxygen. I started small, anonymous tips to the SEC, whispers to Victoria's rivals. But Evelyn was a fortress. Her power coiled like a spring in boardrooms and backrooms. The controversial part? I'd have to become her, ruthless, willing to burn bridges that weren't even mine. First decision: seduce Marcus in this body. Make him confess on tape. Risky? Hell yes. But watching him crumble, believing he was betting his mistress again, that was the spark. By dawn, plans etched in my brain like tattoos. Evelyn thought she'd won, swapping lives like chess pieces. But pawns have teeth. And I was sharpening mine. The city that never sleeps was my accomplice, its neon veins pulsing with secrets as I dove deeper into Evelyn's empire. 2 weeks after Le Cirque, I was Victoria Hale full-time, power suits from Bergdorf's, board meetings where I nodded at projections like I gave a damn, all while funneling data to a burner laptop hidden in a false bottom Birkin. Marcus called, my husband, voice syrupy over the line. Vic, baby, dinner tonight? Evelyn's out of town. I agreed, stomach churning like bad dim sum. Betrayal's aftertaste is bile. But revenge? That's adrenaline laced with spite. We met at the Polo Bar. All mahogany and whispers, where Wall Street wolves devoured steaks rarer than their morals. Marcus arrived late. Ty, askew. That boyish grin I'd once melted for now just a mask. God, I've missed this, he murmured. Hand on my knee under the table, Victoria's knee, but it felt like violation. I played along, laughing at his jokes about that crazy wife of mine, the one he'd left to rot in psych wards post-accident. Serenity's fragile, he said, swirling his scotch. Always was. But you're fire. Fire. I'd burn him with it. Over ribeyes and lies. I coaxed it out. The affair's origin. Evelyn's suggestion to make it permanent. Mom said the swap was clean, no traces. Pharma trial gone wrong. They called it. But it fixed everything. Serenity's out of the picture. And the book's balance. He bragged like it was a merger, not murder. I recorded every word. Phone tucked in my clutch. Heart pounding harder than the bass from a passing Uber blasting Jay-Z. That night, in his hotel suite, overlooking Times Square's electric frenzy, I let him think he was winning. His hands roamed, familiar yet alien. And for a split second, I almost broke character. Whispered, it's me. You bastard. But no. This was method acting. American Psycho meets Fatal Attraction. Minus the bunny boiler, but with spreadsheets of sin. Come morning. He slept like a king. I slipped out, emailing the audio to a journalist I'd bought with Victoria's slush fund. Controversial? Leaking private confessions that could tank his career. Expose the affair? Damn right. But he'd stolen my life twice. Fair's fair in love and vendettas. Evelyn returned from her retreat in the Hamptons, summoning me to her lair, a Park Avenue duplex that smelled of Chanel No. 5 and quiet threats. Victoria. Darling. The numbers are off. Someone's sniffing around. Her eyes, sharp as Ginsu knives, bored into me. I feigned confusion, crossing my legs in her Eames chair. Perhaps it's the auditors. Or that ex-wife of Marcus's, Serenity. Heard she's been unstable. Evelyn's laugh was a scalpel. Unstable? She's a ghost.
Dear.
But ghosts do rattle chains. That's when she dropped the bomb, the hidden secret, the one I'd borne like a scarlet letter. Years back, before the affair ignited, Marcus had cooked the books at his firm, not petty theft, but millions siphoned to fund Evelyn's vanity projects.
Me?
I'd signed the dummy docs, trusting him, thinking it was for us. When the Fed circled, Evelyn pinned it on a patsy, some intern who OD'd mysteriously, but the stink clung to me. No charges, but whispers, Serenity's the weak link. It cost me jobs, friends, that first fragile dream of a family. I'd gambled my name for his, and he repaid me with a body swap. You protected us, Evelyn said, pouring cognac like it was absolution. Now it's your turn to step up. Her plan: frame a competitor for the embezzlement Victoria had started. Consolidate power. I nodded, all wide-eyed accomplice, while inside, rage brewed like a nor'easter. That night, alone in the loft, I hacked her emails, password family first, ironic as hell. Buried in attachments, contracts for the swap tech, sourced from a rogue neural lab in Jersey, tested on volunteers who'd vanished. Evelyn wasn't just cunning, she was a spider, web spanning from FDA bribes to hitmen on retainers. My next move was riskier: reach out to the real Victoria. Through my body, she'd been playing house in Brooklyn, posting yoga selfies and renovation pics on Insta, all while bleeding my savings dry. I messaged from a ghost account: I know who you are. Meet me, or the world sees your face on every tabloid. We met in a dive bar in the village, dim as a confessional. She walked in my face, but twisted, makeup heavy to hide the lines stress had carved. What the fuck do you want? Thief, she spat, sliding onto a stool. Thief, rich, coming from the woman who'd stolen my husband, my life. Over cheap tequila, truths spilled, she'd seduced Marcus to climb the ladder. But Evelyn had forced the swap when Victoria got cold feet on the bigger scam, diverting pension funds. You're a miles a monster, she admitted, voice cracking. She said it'd be temporary. Frame you, then swap back. But Evelyn double-crossed her, leaving Victoria trapped in my useless shell. Sympathy flickered. Misery loves company, but I quashed it. Help me take her down, or I expose you both. Victoria, in my skin, agreed, eyes gleaming with her own revenge itch. We plotted. She'd seduce Marcus again. Plant outs. I'd infiltrate Evelyn's gala. The black tie affair at the Met where deals were sealed over caviar. Controversial decision number 2. Use Victoria's access to drug Evelyn's drink. Just enough disorientation to extract a confession. Non-lethal. But blurring lines into assault? Yeah. The kind of gray that keeps therapists in business. But she'd poison my wine at Le Cirque. Payback's a bitch, named Karma. The gala was a circus of excess, tuxes and gowns swirling under chandeliers like Gatsby's fever dream. Evelyn held court, air thick with perfume and power plays. I cornered her by the bar, flute in hand, hers laced with a mild sedative from a shady contact. To family, I toasted, watching her sip. Minutes later, her poise slipped, words slurring, eyes glazing. In a shadowed alcove, I pressed, tell me about the swap, Evelyn. How you buried Serenity's life for your precious boy. She giggled, then snarled, grip like talons. You think you're her? Pathetic. I made you erase that whiny girl so Marcus could shine. The accident? My gift. It poured out. The van driver on payroll. The neural rig zapping souls like faulty Wi-Fi. I recorded it all. Phone hidden in my clutch. But as security buzzed closer, her ravings drawing eyes, she lunged, nails raking my arm. You'll pay? Imposter. I fled into the night, gala laughter echoing like mockery. Back home, the audio was gold, Evelyn's voice, damning as a Nixon tape. But the twist nod, why invite me to Le Cirque if she suspected? Was the chef her plant? A test? Paranoia crept, American as apple pie and red scares. Power in New York isn't held. It's borrowed. And Evelyn's lenders were calling collect. The leak hit like a subway derailment. Page 6 splashed Marcus's affair. The audio snippets twisted into heiress and body swap scandal. Anonymous sources, me. Through proxies, fed the beast. Evelyn's stocks dipped. Board members jumped ship faster than rats from a mafia yacht. Marcus called in a panic. Vic. What the hell? Mom's furious, says you're behind it. I played dumb. Voice honey over the line. Me? I'm just trying to hold it together. But inside, triumph tasted like victory laps at Belmont. Victoria, in my old skin, held up her end, whispering poison in Marcus's ear during reconciliation dinners. Serenity's back. Baby faking it, but cracking. He bought it. Paranoia his new cologne.
Me?
I escalated. Controversial as dropping napalm at a bake sale, I sedated and borrowed Evelyn's phone during a feigned lunch, cloning it to mine. Texts flooded in. Payoffs to the swap text creator. A ghost named Dr. Harlan. Holed up in a Queens warehouse. And the secret's core. The crime I'd borne? It wasn't just Marcus's fraud. Evelyn had covered a hit-and-run she'd caused years ago. Killing a whistleblower.
Me?
I'd confessed to it in therapy. Gaslit by her into believing it was my blackout drunk night. She'd buried the body literally, and the guilt in my psyche.
Dr.
Harlan was my white whale. I tracked him through dark web breadcrumbs, ending up in a derelict industrial park where the air smelled of rust and regret. He was a wreck, tweed jacket frayed, eyes darting like a cornered ferret. You Hale women always trouble, he muttered, barricading the door with crates of humming servers. Over stale coffee in his lair, wires snaking like veins, I pried, tell me how to reverse it. He laughed. A wet hack.
Can't.
Neural echoes permanent. Souls don't unscramble like eggs. Evelyn paid triple to make it stick. But he spilled more. The swap wasn't just for cover, it was Evelyn's experiment. Testing immortality hacks for her elite circle. Controversial? Harlan had volunteered homeless vets. Souls shuffled like cards in a con. I recorded. Of course. But the decision loomed. Blackmail him into testifying. Or silence him permanently. The latter whispered temptations, dark. Efficient. The kind of choice that hardens you faster than Rikers. I chose life. Cuffing him with zip ties and calling in a tip to the feds. Clean. But it cost me. Evelyn's goons torched his lab that night. Flames licking the sky like her fury. She struck back swift as a foreclosure. My Victoria's bank accounts froze. Courtesy of Evelyn's SEC puppets. Repossessors eyed the loft. Colleagues iced me out at meetings. Marcus confronted me in a coffee shop on Wall. Steam rising like our evaporating marriage. You're not her anymore, he snarled. Face twisted. Whoever you are, stay away. I leaned in, breath minty with deceit. Oh, Marcus. I am her. The one you killed. His slap echoed, cheeks stinging like truth's receipt. I didn't flinch, walked out into the drizzle, hailing a cab to Brooklyn. Visiting myself was surreal. My old apartment, now cluttered with Victoria's designer knockoffs. She paced. Chain-smoking camels, my vice. Corrupted. Evelyn's closing in, she said, passing a joint that I waved off. She knows we're talking. We huddled over takeout lo mein. Plotting the climax, crash Evelyn's emergency board meeting. Drop the bombshells live. But the betrayal deepened. Victoria confessed she'd skimmed my savings for coke binges. accelerating my financial freefall. Sorry, she shrugged. Eyes my own but soulless. Forgiveness?
Nah.
I pocketed her phone, insurance, and left, the weight of dual lives crushing like rush hour crush. Tension coiled tighter than a noose. Evelyn summoned me to her duplex again, this time with muscle. 2 suits who patted me down like airport TSA on steroids. You've been naughty. Victoria, she cooed from her throne of a chaise. Robe's silk as a lie. The room screamed opulence, Picassos on walls. A bar cart glittering with top-shelf poisons. She poured us both scotch.
Neat. Drink.
It's not laced this time. I sipped, fire blooming in my throat. What do you want, Evelyn? Allegiance, she said, eyes gleaming. Marcus is crumbling, divorce papers incoming. Join me, and we rebuild. Betray me. She trailed off, gesturing to the goons. The controversial pivot. I could end it here. Smash the decanter over her head. Grab the letter opener as a shank. But no, too messy. To her. Instead, I knelt, feigning submission. What do I have to do? Her smile was victory. Frame the board's weak link. Plant evidence in his office. Tonight. I agreed, slipping out into the twilight where jackhammers sang construction anthems. But en route to the target, I detoured. Evelyn's safe. Combo from her clone phone. Inside, gold mine, ledgers of the whistleblower's death, photos of the body dump in Jersey marshes, and a file on me. Psych evals twisted to paint Serenity as suicidal, justifying the swap as mercy. She'd borne nothing. I'd carried her sins like a cross, flogged for her crown of thorns. The board meeting loomed at dawn, glass tower piercing the smog like a middle finger to the proletariat. I arrived early, badge swiped, heart a war drum. Marcus was there, haggard in his corner office, avoiding my gaze. Evelyn swept in like a storm front, commanding the room, projections, pie charts of plunder. My cue, slipped the forged docs into the rival's briefcase during break. But I twisted it, dropped Evelyn's ledgers instead. Anonymous email syncing to every screen mid-pitch. Chaos erupted. Gasps. Shouts. Her face draining to ash. What is this? She bellowed. But the evidence scrolled inexorable. Murders. Swaps. Frauds. Marcus bolted up. Mom? Betrayals mirror. His eyes on her like she'd grown horns. Security swarmed, but I stood frozen. Victoria's heels rooting me. The climax. Evelyn lunged at me across the table, screeching, "You bitch, Serenity." The room stilled. Truth half out, but the twist coiled unseen. Cops hauled her away in cuffs that chafed her Chanel. Flashing bulbs from press vans below like paparazzi. Marcus cornered me in the hall. Who are you, really? I smiled, enigmatic as the Mona Lisa on acid. Your worst nightmare. But as sirens wailed, doubt flickered, had I won? Or just traded cages? Freedom's a funny word when your soul's still bartered goods. Evelyn's arrest splashed across CNN like confetti at a funeral. Pharma mogul in body swap conspiracy? The feds swarmed, raiding her penthouse, unearthing skeletons, literal and ledgered. Marcus lawyered up, vanishing to a sabbatical in Aspen, leaving voicemails I deleted unlistened. Victoria? She ghosted. My old body last seen boarding a red-eye to LA. Chasing starlit dreams on my dime.
Me?
I was adrift in Victoria's husk. SEC breathing down my neck for her, my embezzlements. the loft echoing with ghosts of deals gone sour. The trial was a circus. American justice porn. Evelyn in orange jumpsuits that clashed with her highlights, testifying with the grace of a cornered cobra.
Dr.
Harlan flipped, spilling neural nightmares under immunity. I testified anonymously, consultant witness, detailing the swap from victim Victoria's POV. Voice steady as I lied through borrowed teeth. Evelyn's eyes locked on mine across the courtroom, promising hells hotter than Riker's. Liar, she shrieked during cross. But the jury, blue-collar folks from Queens, saw the monster, not the matriarch. Marcus resurfaced mid-trial, subpoenaed and sweating. On the stand, he crumbled. I thought it was a dream. Mom said it'd fix us. A fix? He'd framed me for his fraud. Let Evelyn swap souls to bury the whistleblower's death, the hit-and-run she'd pinned on my instability. The secret unraveled. That night years ago. Evelyn, buzzed on martinis, plowed into the accountant, exposing her kickbacks.
Drunk.
Panicked. She dragged me to the scene, the trusting daughter-in-law, made me hold the wheel in photos, whisper confessions into a recorder. For family she'd cooed, then deep-sixed the evidence, letting the guilt fester like an open wound. Verdict day, guilty on all counts, manslaughter, fraud, conspiracy. Evelyn's scream echoed as they led her away. Life sentence, no parole. Marcus got 5 years. Plea deal for ratting. The courtroom cleared. Press scrum shoving mics like bayonets. I slipped out a side door, into the autumn bite that nipped like regret. Controversial endgame. I'd won. But at what cost? The decisions haunted, drugging her. Framing ripples that cost innocents jobs. The seduction tapes that aired like reality TV sleaze. Was I avenger or villain? The line blurred bloodier than a Tarantino script. Back in the loft, now mine. Liens lifted by seized assets. I stared at the mirror, tracing Victoria's jawline. Reversal? Harlan's words echoed. Permanent. But a lead surfaced. Experimental rig in a Swiss clinic. Black market reversal for the ultra-rich.
Cost?
7 figures. Kidneys optional. I liquidated what was left, Victoria's stocks. Evelyn's gifts, booked the flight. Controversial? Chasing a ghost fix. Gambling borrowed organs for a soul's return? Yeah. The stuff of ethicists' nightmares. Zurich was crisp as fresh bills. The clinic a sterile bunker amid Alps that mocked my turmoil.
Dr.
Voss. Silver fox with a Teutonic accent. Scan my brainwaves. Echoes strong. Serenity's imprint dominant. Reversal risky. Could fragment both. Sign the waiver. I said. For dripping like fate's lottery. Strapped to the table. Machines humming Wagnerian dirges. I drifted into the void. Flashes of Brooklyn stoops. Marcus's laugh before it soured. Evelyn's smile like a serpent's kiss. Woke to beeping monitors. Voss's face hovering. It worked. Partially. Partial? I bolted up. Stumbled to the mirror. The face, mine. But hybridized. Serenity's soft eyes in Victoria's frame. A chimeric mask. Soul-wise? Fragments. Her ambition laced my calm. My grief hardened her edge. No full swap back. But a merge. 2 women in one skin. A revenge-born phoenix. Returned to New York a ghost in hybrid flesh. The city indifferent as ever. Marcus's appeals failed. He rotted in Otisville. Letters begging forgiveness I burned unread. Victoria? Busted in L.A. For fraud. My fraud. Traced through her spending. Extradited. She faced me in lockup. Through plexiglass. You won.
Ha.
Bitch, looks good on you. I laughed. Free for the first time. It's not winning. It's surviving. The twist, the real gut punch, hit in a manila envelope from Evelyn's estate lawyer. Post-sentencing. Inside, a letter. Her script elegant as ever. Dearest imposter. You think you've toppled me? Darling. I let you. The swap was my gift, not to Marcus, but to you. Serenity was dying, ovarian cancer. Stage 4. Hidden in your therapy files. I spared you the pain, gave you a strong body to conquer. The crimes?
Bait. To forge you.
Now live, or rot in regret. Love. Mother. Bullshit. Tests confirmed. Tumors I'd ignored as stress vanished in the swap's neural wipe. She'd saved me by stealing me, buried the diagnosis under gaslit guilt. Hero or monster? The truth inverted, betrayal as benevolence, revenge as unwitting apprenticeship. Debatable as hell. Did she orchestrate my rise? Or just delay the fall?
Ending?
No tidy bow. I sold the loft. Moved to a cabin upstate. Adirondacks whisper quiet. Leaves turning like pages. Freelance design again. But bolder. Graphics for nonprofits exposing elite corruption. Dates?
Tentative.
With a barista who sees the merge, not the mask. Happy? In fragments. Tragic? If you count souls bartered cheap. But on quiet nights, staring at the Hudson's black ribbon, I wonder, would I swap back?
Nah.
This skin's earned its scars. Evelyn's ghost lingers, whispering family first. I whisper back, serenity now. And that's the real revenge, living unpoisoned, unchained, in a world that tried to erase me.